Hare Krishna, welcome everybody. Today we are doing two most important verses of Bhagavad-gītā. These are like the definitive verses of Bhagavad-gītā, which give us understanding about God. It gives us about the understanding about who surrenders to God, who does not surrender to God. So it gives us some deep insights about the nature of people who are religious and the nature of people who are not religious, the nature of people who are atheists, and the nature of the people who surrender to God, who surrender to Krishna. So very deep, very interesting. So let us begin. Namam dushkruti no mudhaha prapadyante naradamaha mayaya pahrita jnana asuram bhavamashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender to me. In this verse number 15, Lord Krishna is speaking about four categories of people who do not surrender to Krishna. And Krishna labels them as Dushkrutina. Dushkrutina means miscreants. That means there are some people, they are also called as the atheistic plan makers. The atheistic plan makers are very busy making a lot of plans, but they do not surrender to Krishna. So let us understand in more detail about these atheistic plan makers. So the first among these categories, the miscreants, is the Mudha. So Mudha means grossly foolish. So those people who are very foolish, they do not surrender to God. They do not surrender to Krishna. Why? See, to surrender to Krishna, it requires some kind of intelligence. You need intelligence. But the problem is, we are always enveloped by illusion or delusion. And most of the time we think that whatever results that we are getting is only because of our efforts. Very simple question. So just reflect in your life. How many times or how many things did you plan in your life? Did you plan which city you will live? Did you plan what is the job that you will take? Did you plan what is the college that you will study? A lot of times it was just going on. We did not even plan where we will be born or who my parents are. So we are completely under the control of the material world, under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then under illusion, we forget this. Even though the Vedic literatures are very clearly saying that we must surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, and that's the only aim of life, we forget it. So one of the reasons why we forget, or one of the reasons, or those people who do not accept this fact, are mudhas. Mudha means grossly foolish. And these foolish people are very busy because they have created self-created duties. It's a very interesting term. Self-created duties. Self-created duties is something that God has not given us, but we have manufactured it. Okay, we just said, okay, this is something I'm supposed to be doing. Nobody said that. It's just my mind which said, and I'm going on working very hard, day and night, day and night, day and night for that. So these people are called mudhas. So mudhas, the typical example of a mudha is given as the donkey. So the donkey is working very hard, day and night. So every day, it is lifting a lot of heavy clothes for the washerman. It's working very hard all the day. And at the end of the day, it gets a little bit of grass. But that grass is already available. So the donkey doesn't understand that. The donkey sometimes also sings poetry and philosophy, but it's just a braying of sound. So this verse is very powerful, right? Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada is saying that those people who are atheists, they are sometimes a little bit intelligent, and sometimes they are singing some songs, movies, philosophy. Sometimes they say big philosophies. All that is like that of a donkey braying. Just a disturbance to others. They're simply foolish. That's it. So this is the position of a Mudha who does not surrender to the Supreme Master, who does not take time to hear about Krishna. The problem with the hardworking beasts is that they say that we do not have time. And why they do not have time? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of everybody, and he has given the energy, and he is himself the representative of time. And then we are saying that we do not have time to hear about him. And then if we say that, then we will come under the category of the Buddha. So we should avoid that. That's not good. Another category is called as a Naradhama. Nara Adhama. Nara means human being. Adhama means lowest among the human beings. Now, there are different species of life. Sometimes we feel, why do we discriminate like this? Aren't animals also like us? Of course they are. They're same like us. Actually, they are living entities. But the body that we have, the body that they have is different. The mind that we have, the intelligence that we have is different from them. For example, recently there was an exhibition of all the brains in Niemann's. So they were displaying brains of a human being, brain of a dog, brain of a hen. Even hen has got a brain. Even dog has got a brain. But the brain is not developed brain. So we have got a developed brain. So that development is meant for understanding Krishna. It is meant for understanding spiritual knowledge. But unfortunately, we are doing more or less whatever the hen is doing, more or less whatever the dog is doing. So we are enjoying the pleasure at that level. But there's much more beyond that. At the human level, there's so much of self-actualization, self-realization. There's so much that we can realize, but we are not taking advantage of the human body. So now Nara Adhama means there are 84 lakh species of life as per the Vedas. 84 lakh species of life, out of which 4 lakh species are human beings. And even among the human beings also, not all the species of human beings are civilized. Again, civilization does not mean that we are wearing a nice dress and eating in nice plates, maybe with forks and knives. That's not civilization. Civilization means to understand what is my identity, to understand that I must be conforming to the laws of material nature, and to understand that we are all one in front of God, because we are all the parts and parcel of Krishna. So we should all be working in a unified platform. This is called civilization. Not that civilization means just like wearing some nice dress and just like, putting a makeup for a pig. You can, for example, you can put a lipstick for a pig, but it's a pig. That's not civilization. Civilization means having regulative principles, social development, political development, and religious principles. If we reject the religious principles, then such people are called Naradhama. That means there is no conception of God, no conception of religion at all. Such people are called as Naradhama. So the civilized form of human form of life is meant for reviving the lost consciousness. We have an eternal relation with the Supreme. We are trying to revive that relationship. That relationship with Krishna is called Krishna consciousness. So, but those people who fail to revive this, or those who lose this chance to revive their relationship with God, are called Naradhama. So that's why it is a duty of the parents, it's a duty of the guardians, it's a duty of the friends and relatives to remind each other about God, to remind each other about Krishna. So that's the principle of the Vedas. That's the reason why we have samskaras, which are enjoined in our Smriti Shastra. It is meant for reviving God consciousness. Unfortunately, today the whole population is Naradhama. Naradhama population, 90% is Naradhama. Naradhama means they are having some kind of education, but they do not believe in God. Tell me how many of your physics textbooks or of the textbooks that we have studied accept God. Was there any place which said that the gravitational pull is because of the energy of God? Nobody said this to us, right? So this is the education system and all the standards of the Naradhama population, which is currently the standard of the world. And the real standard is to revive spiritual consciousness. The spiritual consciousness can be revived only by the association of pure devotees of Krishna. Let's go to the third category called the Mayaya Pahrita Jnana. Here, Jnana means knowledgeable. Maya Apahrita. Apahrita means stolen. Maya means illusion. That means illusion has stolen their knowledge. The atheistic people, they're intelligent, no doubt. Without their intelligence, how are they able to publish so many papers or make so many inventions? How are they able to construct skyscraper buildings, etc.? There is definitely the intelligence, but the problem is their intelligence has been stolen by illusion. And those atheistic people, they are now disobeying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, it's not the case with everybody. There are some nice scientists. There's so many great scientists like Newton, Einstein, who believed in God. There's so many great philosophers who believed in God. There were so many politicians who believed in God. There's so many leaders who believed in God. But then I'm talking about those people who do not believe in God. And they think that because they're very intelligent, they don't need God. So this is called as the Mayaya Pahrita Jnana. So they also go ahead and they also condemn the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in spite of the fact that they have got the human form of life by the mercy of God. They could have been even a mosquito or a pig or a dog, but they've got the human form of life. Instead of being thankful, saying gratitude to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they deride him with their intelligence, and they go ahead and write books, papers, and then you publish articles, and then they give speeches against God, right? So these are called as the Naradhama or the Maya Pahrita Jnana. Third category, those people whose knowledge has been stolen, whose intelligence has been stolen by illusion. Knowledge has been stolen, right? The last category is called Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. So Asuram Bhavam Ashrita are like openly atheistic. The first three categories are not openly atheistic. They're more or less atheistic. The first category we said is like a hard-working beast. There is like a hard-working person who doesn't have any time for God. The second thing that we saw was Naradhama. That is those people who are not following any kind of religious principles. Third thing we saw was Maya Pahrita Jnana, who are trying to manufacture some kind of different systems which are not aligned with Krishna's system, or those who are trying to be not being aligned with Krishna, and they're trying to condemn religion and condemn spirituality and God. The fourth category is Asura. Asura means purely demonic, openly atheistic. They'll openly say that there is no God, and they will even challenge God, that if God is there, let me see what will happen now. They'll challenge like that. And they'll start creating and manufacturing so many different theories. They'll say that the world has come out because of an explosion. They'll say that the life is because of chemical reaction and things like that. They'll say that, after that there is nothing. And these kind of principles they manufacture and they spread it. So this is the fourth category. They who directly, openly, decry the Supreme Personality of God. So these four people, they cannot surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna. If anybody is having one of these four qualifications, it's called as Dushkritina, miscreant, right? What are the four qualifications? The first one is grossly foolish, Mudha. Second one is lowest among mankind, Naradhama. Third one is knowledge stolen by illusion, Maya Pahrita Jnana. Fourth one is who partake the atheistic nature of demons, Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. So these are the four people who cannot come to Krishna. Let us see the other four people who surrender to God, who surrender to Krishna. This is very interesting. 7.16 Bhagavad-gītā. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukrutino arjuna arto jignasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. O best among the Bharatas, four kind of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Now these are the opposite of the ones which we just spoke about, Dushkritina. These are the ones who are opposite. That is, they are also called as pious people. Krishna is using the word Sukritina. The last four categories of people who do not surrender to God are called Dushkritina. And those people who surrender to God are called Sukritina. And we have been taught that godless civilization is better than a God-fearing civilization. Right? So that's what we have been taught, because we are right now dominated by Dushkritinas. Now let us see about Sukritina. Who are these four kind of people who surrender to Krishna? So the first category of people is also called as the distressed, Artha. Second category is called as Jignasu. That means Artharthi. Second one is Artharthi. That is desire of wealth. Third category is Jignasu, inquisitive. Fourth category is Jnani, or the one who is in knowledge. Let us see that in detail. So the first category is Artha. This is very easy to understand. See, whenever we are in trouble, whenever we are in difficulty, what is the first thing that we do? So whenever the situation is completely out of our control, we surrender to God. We take the names of God. That's what the entire world does. They may be from any religion, any part of the world. Everybody surrenders to God when they are in deep trouble. That's called Artha. That means those people who are very distressed, they do not have any other shelter. Therefore, they take the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's called as Artha. And the second one is Artharthi. Artharthi means those people who are looking for some kind of material wealth. So we see a lot of people who go to the temples. They have some kind of desires. Maybe they want to pass an exam, or maybe they want to get married, or maybe they want a nice job, maybe they want a salary hike, or maybe they want some court case to be won, or maybe they want the children to be healthy, happy, etc., 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 etc. There are so many desires. So those people who surrender to God, or those people who approach God with some desire, are called Artharthi. This is the second category. The third category is Jignasu. Jignasu means who are inquisitive. There are some people who are always inquisitive. They want to find out what is there in Bhagavad-gītā. We have already heard about Bhagavad-gītā. We've heard so many things about Bhagavad-gītā, glorification of Bhagavad-gītā. But I would like to personally find out what exactly is there in Bhagavad-gītā, that everybody is praising it so much. I want to find out about Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is God there? God is there. Why am I not able to see him? Can I know more about God? Can I know more about the kingdom of God? How do I become God conscious? So this is called as Jignasu, or the inquisitive. So the example for the inquisitive sages, inquisitive people, is the sages of the Naimisharanya, who were asking questions to Shukadeva Goswami. And the final category is called Jnani. Jnani is the person who is in knowledge. So any person who has little bit of transcendental knowledge, trained in the Vedic literatures, has an idea that we are not the body, we are the soul. And because the soul is eternal, after this death of the body, there is transmigration to another body. So to understand about this soul and the super soul is called knowledge. And those people who have this kind of knowledge, who are seeking knowledge, or who are knowledge seekers, they approach God, because out of knowledge, they have read from the Vedic scriptures that by approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or by worshipping Lord Krishna, they can get liberation. So they aspire for liberation and they approach God. Now, how do we understand this Dushkritina, Sukritina, and the pure devotee position? Let us try to understand. It's very clear and it's very easy to understand the position of the Dushkritina, or the miscreants. Those people who are not surrendering to Krishna are openly miscreants. Okay, their purpose of life is completely wasted. Okay, and now how do we understand these four people? Because we understand here that these four kind of people, their desire is not pure. They have something that they are aspiring for. For example, the person who is distressed is coming to Krishna because he is distressed. So maybe after the distress is gone, maybe he may not be again thinking about God. So it happens that, when we are in a lot of trouble, we think about God intensely. And after that trouble is gone, difficulty is gone, we forget about God. That happens, isn't it? Similarly, those people who are looking for some kind of wealth, or looking for some kind of material desire, they also approach God. And when they get what they want, they forget God. And those people who are inquisitive, it is their initial inquisitiveness, and it is just inquisitiveness that they're trying to find out. Okay, and then after some time, they may not be interested. And those people who are seeking for liberation, their goal is not to really love God or love Krishna. Their idea is just that they want to be liberated from this material world. That's the only goal. But now we have to understand that even though these four categories of people are pious, definitely, there's no doubt about it, because they are surrendering to Krishna. However, they are not pure devotees. Pure devotional service means, the definition is given, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. That means one should render transcendental loving service to Supreme Lord Krishna favorably without any desire for material profit or gain to fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is pure devotional service. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Shunyam means vacuum, no, none. Abhilasha means we should not have any kind of desire when we are approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. It's not that we are expecting something and we are praying to him. That's why in the Shikshastakam it says, Nadhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janmani janmani ishware bhavatat bhakti rahaitu kitvai. Oh my dear Lord, I'm not seeking any money. I'm not seeking any followers. I'm not seeking that I want to become a scholar. All I want to become is your pure devotee life after life. This is called as pure devotional service. Anya abhilashita shunyam. That means not having any kind of desire other than to serve Krishna, to love God. Jnana karma adi, jnana karma yoga. These are the different kind of systems for understanding the spirituality, to understanding the absolute truth. But the ultimate goal is to come to this position that, oh my dear Lord, I'm your servant. And the only relationship that we have is that of a servant and a master. And all I want to do is just serve you. It's not that I'm doing any kind of a business with you. So for example, I'll tell you, when Lord Narsimadev gave darshan to Prahlad Maharaj, he killed Hiranyakashipu. And Prahlad Maharaj specifies Lord Narsimha. And then Lord Narsimadev says to Prahlad Maharaj, okay, dear boy, ask for some benediction. Then Prahlad Maharaj says, you see, I'm not a businessman. This is not some kind of a business. That the reason why I worship you, the reason why I do Krishna consciousness, the reason why I'm hearing, chanting, thinking about you, is not because that you will give me some kind of benediction. It's because of love. All I want is that I want to serve you. That's my position. And I enjoy doing that. And that's my duty. I just want to do that. So please grant me a position that I will be able to serve you forever. Always I am in the association of your pure devotees. And I'm able to remember my position and I'm able to serve you. That's all. That's my only desire. So this is called as Anyabhilashita Shunya. Jnana karma adi anavritam. You see, sometimes when we approach the Supreme Personality of the Godhead out of jnana, out of knowledge, the goal is liberation. Sometimes the goal of the monists is to merge into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if you merge into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or if you merge into the impersonal Brahman, you lose your identity. When you lose your identity, when you lose your existence, where is the possibility of service? If you want to serve the Supreme Lord, you must have your identity. You must preserve your identity, but you must spiritualize it. So you must get rid of the material identity, get a spiritual identity, and still have an identity to be able to worship Krishna. If the identity itself is lost, that's like a suicide. So that's why Prabhupada calls it spiritual suicide. So material suicide is killing the body. Spiritual suicide, the jnanis, they want to merge into impersonal Brahman. They want to finish their existence because they're frustrated. But there is nothing so frustrating. Actually, the service of Lord Krishna is not frustrating. It's very, very nice. So for that, it is worth taking millions of births also, if we can serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But of course, our mood should be that I shall go back to Godhead in this lifetime only. That should be our mood, that I shall go back to Godhead. So when we go back to Godhead, it's not for some kind of personal enjoyment, but it is for serving God face to face. We're serving Krishna face to face. So jnana, karma means karma kanda. Some people think that by doing the ritualistic activities, fire sacrifices, and all the austerities, vratas, all the things that are given, charities which are given in the Vedas, they will be able to please Krishna. Yes, of course, they do please Krishna, but not as much as it pleases Krishna when you give your heart to Krishna. So Krishna wants not only that we surrender our activities to Krishna, but he wants us to give heart to him. So that is, if you're giving patram pushpam phalam, you're giving some kind of a fruit or a flower, or water to Krishna. But what is very important in that is bhakti. Bhaktiya upakritam. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Bhakti is the important thing. We have to give our love to Krishna. So what is more important than, relying on these fruitive activities as a source of serving Krishna? We should be focused on loving devotional service to Krishna, including the yoga system also. The yoga system, the ultimate goal is, to meditate upon the Lord, and some of the yogis, they meditate upon the super soul, and their goal is to get some kind of mystic powers, siddhi. It's called ashta siddhi. So we should not look out for such kind of ashta siddhis. That's not our goal. Our goal is that we remember Krishna all the time. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu, smaranam pada sevanam. That is like always hearing and chanting about Krishna. Always like remembering Krishna. Savai mana Krishna pada aravindayo vasamsi vaikunta gunanu varnane. Ambarish Maharaj, he engaged all his senses in Krishna consciousness. He was always engaging his mind in remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. He engaged his voice, his throat in glorification of Lord Krishna. He engaged in his hands in cleaning the temple of Lord Krishna. He engaged his feet to go towards the temple of Lord Krishna. He engaged his ears to hear about Krishna. He engaged his nose to smell the tulasi offered to Krishna. He engaged his tongue to taste the prasadam or the offering that has been given to Krishna. Right? This is how you are supposed to be engaging your senses. This is called as pure devotional service. So while these four kinds of people that we have seen here, right, they are no doubt very pious, they're still not at a very pure platform which is completely devoid of any desires. They're not akama. So they can become akama or completely desireless when they come in association with the pure devotees and start pure devotional service. But definitely they have a chance that somehow by their good fortune, if they come across the pure devotional service, if they come across the pure devotees, then they can also become pure devotees. So the pure devotees are very close to Krishna. So in the coming two verses, we will see about more about this kind of the devotees that Krishna likes, the pure devotees, right? So just to give you an example of these four kind of people who surrender to Krishna. So the people, I said that the distressed, can you think of an example of a great devotee who surrendered to God at the time of distress? Can you think of some example from the Shastras? Any famous example? Anybody quick?
Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj was, no, not for that. It's Gajendra. Gajendra went to God when he was distressed, right? Desirer of wealth. What is the example for desirer of wealth? Who was the devotee who approached God expecting something in return? And he actually got something very big. Who was that person? That's Dhruva Maharaj. That's Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom which is better than that of his grandfather, and he got the Dhruva planet, pole star. Inquisitive. Who are the inquisitive people who are inquiring about Krishna?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit. Okay, who else? Parikshit is a pure devotee. It's not the perfect example, but okay. The sages of the Naimisharanya are the example for inquisitive, who are questioning Sutta Goswami about the absolute truth, right? They were the inquisitive people. And the Jnani, who are the Jnanis who approached Krishna? Jnanis means who are completely knowledgeable in the monistic knowledge. A hint is that there are 4 people. Who are they?
Sanat Kumaras.
Yeah, the 4 Kumaras.
Four
The 4
Kumaras.
Kumaras, they're full of knowledge. And it happened that they went to meet Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. And when they took the darshan of Lord Vishnu, and when they just smelled the smell or the aroma that came from the tulasi that was offered to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, their hearts transformed. So they changed their minds from a conclusion that God is impersonal to that God is personal and here is God. So they are the examples of knowledgeable people or jnanis who have approached Krishna. So that's about it, devotees. So that's the conclusion. So today we saw 4 kind of people who do not surrender to Krishna or God. And we saw 4 type of people who surrender to Krishna and God. And we have also seen what is the position of a pure devotee, that how these 4 kind of pious people can also become pure devotees in the association of pure devotees. Okay, thank you very much. Anybody has any questions, you can ask me. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any questions?
Krishna Prabhuji, one question.
Yes, please.
Shailja here.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, in the impersonal and personal form of the God, which form should we focus upon when we are doing bhakti or devotional service?
The same question was asked by Arjuna to Krishna in the 12th chapter, that what should I focus on? What is better, to worship you in the personal form or the impersonal form? Lord Krishna says that personal form is best. Those people who worship the personal form are the best. And he says the impersonal path is very difficult. Avyaktahi gatir dukkham. That means if you take the impersonal path, it results in a lot of miseries. So impersonal path is not recommended by Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any questions? Any further questions? All right. Okay. Thank you, devotees. So please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Okay, thank you, devotees.